Go, Jim, welcome. How are you?
Good morning, Michael. We're waiting to see just how bad these storms are going to be because they're forecast to hit the area right during game time. So we're in the combat zone. Between 11 and 4, they're calling for severe weather. Who knows?
All right, and it's warm, though. It's warm weather.
It is.
Yes.
It's in the 60s, very warm. Feels a bit bizarre outside right now.
All right. The Bears, they caught a break in Green Bay. No Aaron Rodgers. They win that game. And I almost get the idea that Cutler took a look at the landscape and said, wow, wait a second. We get a win up in Green Bay I don't expect to get. And Rodgers goes down. Now we play the Lions. Must game. I'm going to rush myself back into action. He rushed himself back into action, got hurt again. Now they don't have him back. And now they got to rely on McCown again. So it seems like maybe he was a little hasty in his return.
Well, do you think there's a chance that after he got brutalized by so many people, not only in the media, really, by players in the league who were so eager to text during that NFC Championship game a few years back, that, he took himself out of the game, he wasn't hurt, that will, for the rest of his career, factor into his decision-making?
Maybe right. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, maybe. Maybe he did he was treated very unfairly. People don't like him. People just don't like him. That's just the way it goes. There's certain guys that rub people the wrong way. He does.
I think his brethren around the league really betrayed him.
I agree, and they were wrong, too.
They were so anxious to go post on their Twitter accounts, what they thought about Jay Cutler before they knew all the details. And, you go around the Chicago Bears facility, that's all they talk about is how tough a guy is.
Yeah,
but he got portrayed there for a while like, he was anything but.
And he takes a beating all the time, too, from that, and he did last year. But you know what? They actually have a backup who is not terrible. So at least he can play. He's not Cutler, but he can play. And now here come the Ravens. And the Ravens aren't very good. But this year, you don't have to be very good to be in the mix. And if they can get a win today, they are in the mix. The question I would have for the Ravens is, can the Ravens get any semblance of a running game going?
Well, that's, of course, dogged them so far this year between Rice and Pierce. I mean, there's just nothing there. They're two of the three lowest averages in the league per carry, 1 and 3. I mean, Rice is 2.5 a clip. Pierce is 2.8. And it's, and I asked Coach Harbaugh about this last night. First off, they've had some shifting around on the line, as you know.
Right.
And second week of the season, Rice injured a hip against Cleveland, and he said he hasn't been the same. He's just, in the last 2 weeks, he's started to look like the Ray Rice that Harbaugh is familiar with. He said, I think you're going to see a real big difference. For the Ravens standpoint, 4 and 5 coming into this game, and they just don't look fearsome at this point. Harbaugh is always an optimistic guy, but he believes if they can get this one, and then they go home for 4 of their next 5. Very favorable schedule ahead. He thinks they could be getting hot at the right time. He says their defense has gotten, they turned over their defense, let's face it.
They did.
They had to completely reshape it. It's gotten up to speed a lot faster than anyone thought. Their defense is pretty good.
And it's a free year for them, let's be honest. We knew it would be. You knew there was going to be a lot of turnover with that team this year, and they have a free year. So whatever they do this year is gravy, and they're rebuilding. We know that. So, I mean, whatever they get. Now, the Bears treated a little differently. This is a big opportunity now. They lose that tough one last week. Cutler gets hurt again. But if they can get this game, they find themselves right still in that mix. And who knows when Rodgers is coming back. The Packers might get another loss today. And the Lions could fall today in Pittsburgh. So this is a big opportunity for the Bears also.
Well, the problem with the Bears when they look at the division is they've already lost twice to Detroit.
Yep.
So, they've got a pretty impossible mountain to climb.
Yeah, they need some help. But there's a lot of talk Rodgers could be back for the Thanksgiving game. Yep. So, if he is, that could change things,
Well, I like Mark Trustman, Mike. This is the second time we've had the Bears this year. Get a feeling being around him. He reminds me a lot, just the way he's organized and the way he has these little catchphrases and the way he analytically goes through each one of his players. It reminds me of the first time we met John Harbaugh 6 years ago. Very similar. You know, Tretzman waited a long time to be a head coach in this league. We know he won up north of the border in Montreal a couple of Grey Cups. He's an impressive guy. I really have no doubt he's going to build something pretty special here. And the quarterback here today, you said it's pretty good. It's an amazing journey, really. This guy's been in the league 11 years.
He has. And listen, there aren't many backups who can play, who don't embarrass themselves. This guy actually can play a little bit.
He can play. I mean, his game at Green Bay was a performance I don't think anyone saw coming. And then his action when he had to come in the second half at Washington, threw for a couple of 100 yards and a half. And then the last series of the game last week, which stoked the fires, and all the stories about why did Cutler play, because McCown came in and drove him right down the field for a touchdown. The guy has looked really sharp.
And the players like him. The team likes him.
They do. He's a really a great locker room guy, as they like to say.
Yeah, the team likes him, and listen, Cutler's never the most popular guy. We know that, but Cutler's got Cutler makes throws though that McCown can't dream of, and that's just the way it is.
One thing about McCown today, he's a smart guy. I don't think his arm strength is Flacco's strength.
No, and he's not Cutler.
And Cutler, we know, can throw a ball
with anybody,
and with anybody, and bore a throw through the wind. And we may not get these severe thunderstorms here, but the wind, it's going to be a part of this story here today.
And Flacco's a big arm, no question.
And Flacco, I don't even think he would even think twice about it.
No, he's got a great arm.
McCown will. Yeah. McCown, it could definitely impact his performance.
Good point.
Today.
Good point. And Flacco's got a very, very big arm, which we know, and that could be a big factor. Second on Kansas City tonight in Denver, and Manning. I don't think we're hiding it. I mean, I don't think they're hiding it, but I think they're trying to say there's no concern. But I would think these injuries have to be piling up on him. He did not look good at the end of the game last week.
Well, he took that hit from Legion.
And he was very angry, and you could tell that they're piling up these injuries, and you wonder, against a team with a big pass rush, which they have tonight, you got to wonder whether he can withstand too many more hits.